Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Sometimes I feel the need to start with ABC 1, 2, 3 in order to really make a point which is not that intellectually challenging or anything. And I just have to start with some truisms, like for instance, how do you build trust? I mentioned this many times before. You build trust by repeatedly, consistently telling the truth, a verifiable truth, all right? That means you say something and the person that you told that something, in the future can verify that what you said is true and they don't catch you with a lie. As I said many times before, one lie, if you're caught telling one lie, you need about 9 times to be truthful, verifiable truthful by the person that you lied. This is in psychology. Some studies say that. So at least on average 9 times. So for one lie, you need 9 verifiable truths. All right, now we have here the intelligence community and all these weasels from the mass media, both sides, all sides, that lie more or less. That's the only thing that we can say, more or less, but they all lie. They lie by omission, they lie by straight line, it's anyway. In this case, we have the Ukrainians coming and telling us, pieces of information that contradict one another. And when they contradict one another is because you either don't know what you're talking about or you know what you're talking about, but, consciously you lie, okay? The Ukrainians said on many Ukrainians, when I say Ukrainians, I'm saying intelligence services. The intelligence services of Ukraine, United States, and Great Britain came out and said the Russians are depleted of their stocks of missiles, not stocks, missiles and rockets. That's what they said. And other people rarely say, well, that's an impossibility. I have actually only one example from the West who said Russia will not run out of missiles and rockets, this was his terms, anytime soon. And that was a general in the German army. I can't remember his name, Zun, starting with a Z, Z-U-N-N or Z, something like that. He made this claim on, I don't know, maybe it was about July or something like this, or August. I made a video on that thing because it was very strange. Everybody was saying the Russians are done since April. The Russians are depleted, no more missiles. This was the only guy who said, guys, you don't know what to talk about. I said, well, according to my information, my knowledge, my experience, the Russians will not run out of rockets anytime soon. And the missiles, they still have them. I don't know how many. I made a video with Reznikov finally coming out and telling us how many missiles Russians had at the beginning, how many missiles they produce, and how many missiles used, and how many missiles they have. I love that. I made a video. That was the only time when the Ukrainians came and told us the numbers that I found straight. Before they would say, well, they have 20% more. Well, out of how many? How did you get that point? How do you know the percentage without knowing the numbers? You have 20% more of your income from what you had last year. Okay, how much I had last year, how much I have right now, and then you can figure out the percentages. Without that information, how do you figure it out? Anyway, I didn't expect consistency, but here we have. These intelligence services told us that the Russians ran out and will run out of missiles. On and off, because they said they ran out. The Russians conducted another missile attack again. They ran out again. Now, in this article, which comes from 12th of January 2023, today, Thursday, this is the title coming from Ukrainska Pravda. Russia may repeat massive mixed attack on Ukraine. How could they do a massive mixed attack? How can they conduct that? I always come to this, and I will always come to this, on the 24th of December 2022, Ben Wallace, the Minister of whatever, intelligence, military, blah, 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 in the Great Britain, came out and said that Russia is incapable of conducting any more massive attacks, missile attacks. He said, based on his information. And then on the 26th and then the 29th of December, the Russians conducted exactly that. Now, that said that, this guy say this, which one is it? Consistency, remember? Russia is likely preparing to conduct a massive hybrid attack on Ukraine in the near future using missiles and Iranian-made drones. Yes, I can tell you that without being involved in any intelligence security services. Why? Because it's very, very obvious, knowing many other things. Okay? Okay, let's move on. Source, Natalia Humenyuk. She said that. Yeah, so Natalia Humenyuk, who's the head of the Joint Press Center for Operational Command, Pivden South, on air during a broadcast by Kiev Municipal Television Channel on January 12th. Quote, presumably, such an attack is being prepared because the invaders are of the intervals of preparation for the occupiers' troops are exactly the same. They need about 10, 12, 14 days to reorganize after the previous massive attack they carried out on the territory of Ukraine. You are partially right, baby doll. Partially, that's the key word. And I would ask you, okay, well, how about the attack on the 26th of December and the one on the 29th of December? Is that 12, 9, whatever, 12, 10, 12, 14 days? No, it's okay. I understand you don't have to be 100% consistent. You can be keep a 90% accuracy. I understand that, but I just wanted to point that out to you, baby doll, because that's the most recent one. So how did you forget that one? Anyway, you make your point. Anyway, so then it's 10, 12, 14 days, a previous massive attack. So that means the one in the 29th, right? Now it's about time, right? We're in the 12, so we're in the 14 kind of margin. If nothing happens right now, Kamenyuk, you're again failed the class. Since they have now made friends with this practice, so to speak, and they enjoy it, it is likely that they are preparing a similar attack. And perhaps it will be the one of a mixed type, when air and sea-launched missiles and kamikaze drones are used. End quote. I think that was like a basic formula. Recipe that the Russians provided you with a missiles attack from the ground, from the air, and from the sea. No? What else is it? From the ass or something? Anyway, Humenyuk explained that Russia's stockpile of missiles is already exceeding the limit of their inviolable stockpile. So probably that they're in the red, you know what I mean? That's low on fuel. So they might use mixed practices. Well, they always almost did it, and they almost, or as a, if you want to make a pattern, you look for a pattern, baby doll, look that they always, not always, most of the time, because how you make a pattern by looking, in the past and try to see which one is more than 51, you can say, well, it's a pattern. I mean, it's more likely, okay, not most likely would be about 90%, which I think it is. The Russians attack from the sea, land, and air. So what the hell are you talking about? Anyway, the mix. In addition, she believes that the Russians are concerned about the quality of Ukrainian air defense, so they are trying to use wave-like tactics to identify air defense positions and attack them as well. Isn't that the way you should do, like a basic tactic? I don't know, sometimes I'm thinking these guys are really talking with people that have a 54 IQ or something. I mean, isn't that what you do? Anyway, Humenyuk also noted the increased activity of the Russian reconnaissance aircraft. Yes, they did increase that. Background. Russia has been attacking Ukraine's power system since the beginning of autumn. The first strike was in Kharkiv and Poltava Oblast on September 11. The first strike was in Kharkiv and Poltava Oblast on September 11. Okay, well, what can I say? The last massive missile strike was carried out by the Russian Federation on 31st December. Oh, it was not 29. What was it on the 29th then? 12 out of more than 20 missiles have been shot down. Oh yeah, they consider that one a massive attack. Drone attack took place in the New Year's Eve. 45 Shahid UAVs were shot down. I didn't consider that as a massive. And on the night of 1 to 2 January, about 40 drones were shot down. I don't consider that massive. Massive, I consider something above 90, 80 to 90. These are just like, okay, let's here one, another one. I don't consider that a massive. You can say, well, I mean, how do you? Based again on the past. All right, make a pattern, look and read. Read and see how many missiles and rockets the Russians use when they have a massive attack. About 86, 96, 104. I mean, I've been covering this each and every day. So if my memory doesn't fail me too often, that's what was the average of a massive missile attack, not 45. That's not, you know. But anyway, let's don't get tangled in these details. The idea is that these guys tell us to get ready, and I think we all know that the Russians will do that. The problem is, are they able or they're incapable, you know, unable. So I think they still are, even though it's a mixed signal. The Russians don't have the missiles anymore, but then get ready, they will bombard us. Now, which one is it, baby doll? We know which one is it. It is. The Russians will continue doing what they have been doing for the, I don't know, 11 months or so. And you guys are going to do the same thing. Try to destroy those incoming missiles. But it's just, I don't know. I personally get, you know, like sick of talking about, yeah, they're going to start another one. No, they're going to, no, they still have them. No, they don't have them. They have them. They have them. And they will have them until this war, whatever it is, with NATO and so on, will end. I guarantee you they will have them. They will not run of them out. I mean, not that they can't, but I remember, Russians are not that idiot as they're portrayed by these guys. They planned a lot of shit. And they didn't plan against Ukraine. They planned against NATO and even more. It's like the Americans' doctrine, the U.S.'s defense doctrine is us against everybody else. That's their, you know, and it's normal. They prepare for this scenario. The scenario when we, the United States, are attacked by everybody else on this planet. So do you understand how prepared you have to be for that? You don't start, oh, right now we're going to start preparing for that. They have all the plans done, stockpile built. They change it because they renew stuff. So do you think the Russians are just tards? They don't think about the same thing when they see at least NATO coming? Do you think the United States is so threatened by anybody? Who's more threatened, let's say, Russia by NATO or NATO by Russia? I mean, for me, it's a no-brainer who wants and who comes close to the other one, who's bringing things close. Not the Russians bringing infrastructure next to NATO countries, but it's the other way around. So that tells you, you know, who's the imperialist entity here. They say Russia, Russia, Russia. Okay, well, if you want to think that way, you're going to be like this. This is the truth. That's how you're going to be flying around it. Why? Because you can't accept objective facts. I just mentioned a few. Anyway, do you want to look at the military bases? Again, who has how many military bases on this planet? Russia or other countries? Who has troops next to the border of Russia? Or Russia next to those ones? I mean, you can call it that because I bring my troops next to you, you have them next to me, right? I mean, if we were to be dumb, then let's turn dumb all the way then. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.